Hello, my name is Peter Bond. I've been a member of the Metropolitan Opera trumpet section for the past 28 years. In fact, I've just retired from there. Anyway, this is a little segment for the International Trumpet Guild's Listen and Learn project. And this segment is on fingers. When we're trained as trumpet players, we tend to focus on fingers for speed, facility, dexterity, clarity, okay? And it's all about really kind of snapping the valves down, critical for speed studies, and we practice clock technical studies, scales, etc. With that in mind. However, I want to talk about using your fingerings as an expressive tool, and not just for the driver who cut you off at the toll booth, but on the trumpet. Here is an excerpt from the operatic repertoire that anyone who does orchestra music is going to run across now and then. It's the Fate Motif from Carmen. It's a part of the suite. It opens the opera, and frequently people will come and play it for me, and I'll hear something like this. This excerpt appears on auditions, usually to hear the low register and low register intonation. But it's also a lyrical excerpt. It's the Fate Motif, but it's a very chromatic, kind of serpentine melody, and I was not getting any legato there. I was moving my valves very quickly, the way I was trained to do, but you may have noticed the note changes sound a little bit like a bowling ball rolling down the stairs. Bang, 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 bang. Okay, so to get a more legato or more portamento between the notes, I'm going to play it again. I'm going to move my fingers a little bit more slowly. So so instead of I'm going to try to emulate the human voice by moving the machine a little bit more slowly, and I'm going to keep the sound going in between notes. So hopefully you heard a little bit more legato. Here's another example. So in that case, I was slurring, but my decisive finger technique gave me a de facto articulation. So all the notes, the performance was very notchy, and I was clicking from note to note, very much like a machine. And I want to erase that for the audience. I want, even though I'm using a machine to create the sound, if you want to think of it that way, the valves, I want a portamento. I want a very smooth performance. I'm going to use slow fingerings. I'm going to keep the vibration moving in between the notes. The hazard, which may have occurred to you as soon as I mentioned this technique, is, of course, moving the valves too slowly. And you get that comical squeeze, which has probably happened to all of us during a solo at one time or another. So it takes practice. You can use anything to practice them. You can use clock technical studies, scales, clock number 2. Am I on the right microphone? Let's see. etc. Okay, so here's my second swing at the second movement of the Haydn. So hopefully you heard a little bit more vocal connection between the notes, a little bit more lyrical quality to the excerpt, to the fragment, and so this technique, I learned it actually from all people. I learned it from Dale Clevenger, who said that what he does is to get this quality, he just moves his fingers up on the paddles of the French horn. I may have done this the last time. Sometimes I will actually do that. I'll kind of play on my first knuckle, and that'll help that kind of slow business. I've heard people recommend you use very heavy valve oil to create this effect. I think that's kind of dumb, but so anyway, be aware of the way you change notes, the way you move between notes with just your fingers can have an expressive quality to it. Likewise, if you move your fingers very rapidly, it can have a kind of a ripping quality to it, which can create a tremendous amount of excitement. And I have a couple of examples here. Let's see. First one is the Verdi Requiem. Okay, this is the Dies Irae. Most of you who are into orchestral music or studying that, you're gonna wind up playing this every once in a while. And here is this Verdi gives the trumpets this chromatic or quasi-chromatic scale to. He wants that kind of ripping quality. There's a reason he didn't give it to the wind section. Okay, so here let's try that. Okay, and that can create a lot of excitement in that piece. Another example is there are a couple of spots in the beginning of the opera Otello. It starts with a violent storm scene. Otello, our hero or anti-hero, is on the ship, and everybody's watching the ship come in this terrible storm, and it's in danger of being dashed on the rocks. And there's thunder and lightning, and the chorus is yelling, and it's just chaos. And adding to the chaos, there's some of these trumpet licks. So I'll pick a couple of spots out of here. The first one is an awkward scale, and those of you who know the excerpt, I probably will not play the right notes, but be aware it's an effect. It's not. No one's going to analyze the scale. And that, ladies and gentlemen, was my big finish. So I hope there was some information in there that you can use. I think by far the most important thing for me was the learning to use the slow fingers to enhance the legato. But in any case, happy practicing.